Chapter 190. Horcrux? Haunting. Aaron raised his eyebrows and made a strange sound. Unlike the hissing of Parseltongue, the dragon language was more vigorous and incomprehensible to ordinary people. Although Abe was reluctant, the master had instructed him not to waste his efforts, so he could only fly to Aaron resentfully. This barrier has been arranged by Riddle for more than a month. It's not easy to break, but it's not impossible. Just wait for my call. Aaron said, patting Abe's head meaningfully. He had learned the summoning magic circle specifically for this day. Aaron, what sound did you make just now? Harry asked curiously. That's definitely not Parseltongue. Dragon language, Professor McGonagall said with some surprise. That is the language of dragons. There have been no dragon speakers in the magical world for at least 1,000 years. No wonder you can keep a dragon by your side. You're overthinking it, Professor. Aaron shook his head. I only learned the dragon language after I became Abe's master. Some magical things may happen to my dragon cub later. Please let it be, but also pay attention to protecting it. After speaking, Aaron entered the barrier. Harry, Ron, and Hermione exchanged glances and ran towards the barrier, ignoring the professor's attempts to stop them. Are you three out of your minds? Aaron's eyes twitched, and he felt a surge of frustration. Do you have a death wish? Isn't it good to stay alive? We need to help, Hermione said naturally. We just want to make up for the mistakes we made, and we should have this right. Potter, come out quickly, Professor McGonagall called anxiously from outside. You won't be able to help if you go in. Professor, don't worry, we won't hold back, Harry said confidently. My sister's life or death is uncertain. Waiting outside is not an option for me. Come out quickly, or you will be expelled. It's useless, Professor. Aaron spread his hands helplessly. This enchantment allows entry but not exit. They can't get out even if they want to. What? Professor McGonagall took a few steps back in despair, as if most of her strength had been drained. If Professor Sprout hadn't supported her in time, she might have collapsed to the floor. Typical Gryffindors, Professor Snape said sarcastically, then looked at Aaron. Although I don't want to add pressure to you, protect these three idiots. I can only say that I'll do my best, Aaron replied, not daring to make any guarantees. These three were not easy to handle, and he would be grateful if they didn't drag him down. Professor Snape's expression hardened. Then protect yourself. I will do my best, Aaron assured. The four of them walked through a narrow passage and descended a ladder to the real secret room. The chamber was vast, with dim lighting that provided enough visibility. Giant serpent pillars lined the left and right sides, not supporting the high ceiling, but adding a strange ambiance to the water-filled room. Aaron watched as Harry, Ron, and Hermione drew their wands, cautiously advancing as if facing a formidable enemy. He couldn't help but feel amused. The basilisk isn't here. Don't be so nervous, he said. How do you know? Ron retorted. It could be behind any pillar, ready to launch a surprise attack. It's always better to be careful. Aaron's mouth twitched as he explained, My hearing is more than 10 times sharper than yours. The basilisk is so large that its movements can't escape my ears. Then you should take out your wand too, Hermione insisted. What if you're caught off guard? Aaron sighed inwardly. Should I also tell them about my proficiency in casting spells without a wand? As they reached the end of the secret room, a huge statue suddenly appeared before them, clinging to the dark wall. The old wizard had thinning hair, with a bald spot on top, and a long beard that almost reached the hem of his robe, even more exaggerated than Dumbledore's. He looked rather gloomy, but exuded an air of majesty. Salazar Slytherin, the founder of Slytherin House, Aaron said, giving a simple wizard's salute. This must be his appearance in old age, but he still seems extremely wise. Ginny, Ron shouted, running to the foot of the huge sculpture where a red-haired girl lay on the cold floor. Ginny, please don't die. Please don't die. Harry threw his wand aside and helped Ginny up. Her body wasn't stiff. She wasn't petrified like the others. However, her face was devoid of color, and her body was extremely cold, almost indistinguishable from a corpse. Ginny, please wake up, Ron begged, shaking her gently. Open your eyes and look at me, please. Is she still alive? Hermione asked worriedly. Alive, Aaron confirmed, checking Ginny's breath. It was extremely fragile and intermittent, but it was there. But her condition is very bad, very bad. She has only a breath left. To be precise, her life is in a countdown. It could be a few hours, maybe 10 minutes, or even just a few minutes if it worsens. Can you save her? Ron looked at Aaron eagerly. I know you can save her. You have the potion. It's not up to me to save her, Aaron said meaningfully, then looked at a black diary not far away. I'm already here. Shouldn't you come out too? Tom Riddle, a descendant of Salazar Slytherin, shouldn't be a coward. Clap! 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 The sound of applause echoed, and a tall boy with black hair emerged from the shadows, though his outline was a bit blurry. As the figure appeared, a system voice sounded in Aaron's mind. Congratulations to the host for triggering a new system task. Destroy Voldemort's Horcrux. Completing the mission rewards 1,200 magic points, and there is no penalty for mission failure. Will the host accept it? Water law, Aaron muttered, looking at the new task panel. How is Voldemort still lingering? And what is a Horcrux? In this secret room? Could it be that diary? As Aaron's thoughts raced, the figure gradually approached, forcing him to refocus. It seems your condition isn't very good, Aaron observed. It's only temporary, Riddle replied, picking up Harry's wand and fiddling with it. Nice to meet you, Aaron Gaius. You are the person I most want to see at Hogwarts besides Harry Potter. I knew you would come, even a little faster than I expected. Aaron sneered. Actually, you don't need to value me so much. I'm just a small person. There are many people better than me at Hogwarts. This is self-deprecating, Gaius, Riddle said with a meaningful smile. It took me 5 years to find the secret room, but you spent even less time than me, and you inferred the existence of the basilisk from a series of attacks, even identifying me as the one behind it. That's more remarkable than anyone else at Hogwarts. It's mainly because of good luck, Aaron said modestly. Luck? Riddle laughed, as if he had heard a funny joke. Gaius, you and I are the same kind of people, the same Slytherin, the same understanding of the importance of secrecy, the same unscrupulous means to achieve our goals. Do people like us believe in luck? Ah, no. Luck is still worth trusting. If it wasn't for my good luck in being picked up by Harry Potter, I might not even know that there is a Slytherin like you in school. You discovered so many things without making a sound, which shocked me. I knew I had to avoid you until my plan was completed. Otherwise, once you found a loophole, all my previous efforts would be wasted. Hearing this, Aaron's frustration with Harry Potter resurfaced. It could only be said that even the wisest can make mistakes. Who would have thought that Harry Potter would sell him out so easily? What did you do to Ginny? Aaron demanded. Ron asked with red eyes. She won't wake up, maybe half an hour before her life comes to an end. You did it, Harry asked in disbelief. But why? Even for Salazar's cause, Ginny is pureblood. It has nothing to do with whether she is pureblood or not. It can only be considered bad luck for her. If I want to gain a new life, I must have a sacrifice, a new life or even a soul. Of course, I also paid a small price for this. Riddle's eyes were full of greed, but his voice was filled with complacency and disgust. It's so tedious, listening to an 11-year-old girl talking about childish troubles, but I was patient and answered every word of hers carefully, acting very understanding. After I charmed her, she easily opened her soul to me, which was exactly what I needed most. I swallowed her fears and secrets from the depths of her heart, growing stronger and stronger. But after a while, she also started to suspect you. Otherwise, she wouldn't have thrown away the diary, Hermione said calmly. Of course. Anyone who finds that they have lost a lot of memory fragments and has been involved in several attacks will be involuntarily afraid. To be honest, I had already planned to change hosts at that time, but what made me happiest was that Harry Potter picked up this diary. Ginny has told me all those amazing and fascinating stories about you, and you are definitely the person I would most like to meet. Riddle stared at the lightning-like scar on Harry's forehead and let out a shrill laugh. I wanted to know you as much as possible, and I wanted to ask you a lot of questions, but you gave me a huge surprise. I really didn't expect that there would be someone other than Dumbledore threatening me at Hogwarts. Out of caution, I had no choice but to hide my strength and bide my time, accumulating strength in secret. But after Ginny Weasley found out that you had the diary, in order to prevent her secret from being known to you, She stole the diary. Do you know how excited I was when I saw her again? It's not easy for you and me to start, but a little girl is not hard to deceive. I used her to unleash the basilisk again, attack a Ravenclaw, and drive Dumbledore away. After devouring most of her life, I learned from her soul that she was going to hand me over to Mr. Gaius. I had no choice but to get out of the diary in advance with this gesture and control her. She wrote a suicide note, then waited for you here. She also struggled desperately, crying loudly, but to no avail. Damn you, Ron roared angrily, gritting his teeth and pointing his wand at Riddle. Disarm you. The green light moved back and forth in the battered wand, finally shooting out of the front end under Ron's expectant gaze. But Riddle didn't even say the spell. He simply flicked his wand to bounce the spell back, and Ron's wand flew out of his hand. Chapter 191, Tom Riddle and Voldemort. Really weak, Riddle said with disgust. Scum like you isn't worthy of fighting me. It's an insult that even the wands I use are such crap. Why do you want to see me? Harry asked, puzzled. Because of his identity, Aaron said seriously, pulling out his wand. Tom Riddle's identity is not simple. It will definitely scare people to death. You are smarter than I thought. Riddle's face became more playful. This secret is rarely known even in the magical world. Maybe it's not that those people don't know, but they just dare not say it. Ha ha ha, you are right. Even Dumbledore dares not reveal this secret to the public. What charades are you playing? Hermione asked, puzzled. Tom Riddle is hardly known by anyone, but his other identity is well known, even more famous than Harry Potter, Aaron said, swallowing slightly bitterly. Voldemort, or you can also call him the Dark Lord. What? Harry said incredulously. That's impossible. Hermione and Ron were trembling. The Dark Lord was right in front of them. It was impossible not to be afraid. You don't think it's possible, Harry Potter? Voldemort is my past, present, and future, Riddle said, waving his wand and writing his name in the air. Tom Marvolo Riddle. The letters flashed red, and Riddle waved his arm. The letters began to rearrange into a line that made everyone feel a chill. I am Voldemort. The case has been solved, but the truth is always scary, Aaron said, spreading his hands and feeling extremely aggrieved. Originally, he wanted to follow the professor and play a tailwind game, but he didn't expect to play in person himself, and the opponent was abnormally strong. He was a little entangled in whether to add all the magic points he had signed up for this year to mana. After all, it would be foolish to want to defeat the 16-year-old Dark Lord just by relying on the level of a junior mage. I wasn't going to keep my Muggle father's dirty surname, so I gave myself a new one. When I become the greatest wizard in history, all wizards will be in awe of this name and dare not mention it. Wow, what a great ambition. In fact, you did succeed for a while, and many in the wizarding world were afraid to mention your name. But unfortunately, the boat capsized in the gutter. That's why I want to meet Harry Potter. Riddle's eyes flashed red as he walked quickly to Harry, brushing his hair with his wand and pointing at the scar on Harry's forehead. He sneered. How can a baby, without any magical powers, defeat the greatest wizard ever? How on earth did you get away with nothing but a scar while Voldemort's powers were destroyed? Believe me, Harry Potter himself is probably more curious than you. Also, you're not the greatest wizard ever, I'm sure of that. Albus Dumbledore is the greatest wizard, Harry said courageously. He has seen through you long ago, and you dare not face him at all. Indeed, I don't deny that old guy's strength. After I threw the scapegoat Hagrid out, he kept a close eye on me, forcing me to leave school to develop. But in the end, I won, and I forced him out of here with just a single memory. He'll come back, as long as there are people at Hogwarts loyal to him, Hermione said, trembling. At the same time, there was an ethereal and mysterious sound outside the barrier. A crimson bird flew through the passage to the curtain wall, holding a worn-out hat in its claws. Phoenix Fawkes and the Sorting Hat, Professor McGonagall said excitedly. Dumbledore must have provided assistance. But even a phoenix can't break this barrier, Professor Snape frowned. The fact was true. Fawkes was covered in flames, but when he hit the curtain wall, there were only ripples, and the barrier remained as solid as a rock. Hearing the high-pitched chirping of the phoenix, Abe emptied his ears in disdain, then flew into the sky, slapped the phoenix's face with one paw, and plucked a few red gold feathers from it. The wailing sounded, and Fox was furious, even wanting to fight Abe. But B pointed at the fox, restrained his anger, and obediently squatted beside Abe after a few confident words from the barrier. "What's the situation?" Professor Sprout asked, puzzled. "Who knows? Friendly communication among magical animals." Flitwick spread his hands. "Let's break the barrier first. Before Dumbledore comes back, let's help him reduce his workload." "Dumbledore can't stop my resurrection," Riddle said proudly in the secret room. He then looked at Aaron. "With your intelligence, I think you should understand why I called you here." "I can guess," Aaron shook his head, "but I refuse." "Why?" Riddle sneered. "In the future, I have already ruled half of the wizarding world, and I will definitely not make the same mistake. You have no reason to refuse the Dark Lord's invitation." "That's what you think," Aaron said with some embarrassment. "I don't care about the future, and I don't want to be under your command. Do not misunderstand, Math. It's simply because I feel unworthy of you." This was the truth. His family was a group of old monsters, and any one of them could easily handle the Dark Lord in his heyday. No matter how bad the world became, with the Gaius family's thousands of years of heritage, they could always stand alone. Besides, even the former Voldemort had to work hard for decades before achieving anything. Aaron couldn't give up the good times to accompany Riddle in secret battles for decades unless he lost his mind. Wouldn't it be nice to inherit the family property honestly and live a peaceful life? Even the Dark Lord had no ability to shake the Gaius family, let alone a Tom Riddle who had not yet developed. Riddle laughed angrily. "Do you know what you're talking about?" "I know. I've never been so sober in my life. In fact, you recruited me last year, but I still rejected it. It's a pity that you missed an opportunity to reach the sky in one step." Aaron thought to himself, "Don't think about it too much. Your so-called reaching the sky in one step doesn't appeal to me at all." "Do you know the consequences of rejecting me?" Riddle asked. "I know," Aaron replied, taking out his wand. "But do you know the consequences of threatening me?" "I don't know, but I want to try." The two released disarming spells at the same time, and the red light and the green light collided. After a moment of stalemate, Aaron's wand dropped to the floor. "Compared to your peers, you are already considered a genius. You have become a senior magician at the age of 13, but there is still a big gap compared to me," Riddle said with a smile while holding Harry's wand. "I can give you another chance, but before that, you have to learn to be in awe." "Actually, I don't think so," Aaron retorted. Riddle released an imperious curse, hitting Aaron squarely, but a white magic wand that suddenly appeared in Aaron's hand blocked the spell, only to be sent flying several meters before falling down. "It's all right." Hermione ran over to support him and pointed her wand at Riddle at the same time. "Petrificus totalis! Expelliarmus!" Riddle yelled. "Incendio!" Fire joined the battle of spells, allowing Hermione's petrification spell to last a few seconds before being broken by the disarming spell. The two flew backward at the same time. Hermione's wand flew out of her hand, and Aaron was not much better off, his right hand holding the wand shaking constantly. "You are too weak. I can't even muster any interest in weaklings," Riddle taunted. "I'm coming!" Ron stood up angrily. "Stupefy!" Without incident, the spell bounced back, scraping Ron's forehead and hitting the puddle behind him. "You idiot," Aaron said speechlessly. "Be honest and look after Ginny. Don't come here to meddle in other people's business." "But now I'm the only one who can help you," Ron said eagerly. "I don't understand much, but I know that the only way to save Ginny is to defeat him." "Be honest." Aaron stood up, took off the ring on his hand, and threw it aside. The half-sealed power suddenly rushed through his whole body, and the magic energy was raised from within. Aaron's power had diminished from the middle level of an advanced magician to the elementary level. Sensing the change, Riddle seemed to have discovered a secret. A slight smirk appeared on his face. "This ring. I really admire you, Aaron Gaius. I didn't expect you to dare to seal half of your power in my presence. Do you think I won't kill you?" "Don't get me wrong, I just forgot it was there," Aaron replied. Riddle's face darkened, feeling underestimated. "Do you think that increasing your strength by 2 levels makes you my opponent?" "I'm not that naive," Aaron said calmly. This level of strength just gives me a better chance to fight back against you, or at least it won't hurt as much when I'm beaten. You are somewhat self-aware, but your talent truly surprises me. As long as you don't die, becoming a great magister is almost certain. Surrender, Gaius. You are entitled to my courtesy. Aaron ignored him and picked up the 9 3/4-inch long grapevine wand from the ground, placing it in Hermione's hand. Go to Harry first. I can help, Hermione protested. But they both need your protection, and so does Ginny Weasley, Aaron continued, winking at her while explaining. Don't forget, we still have an enemy we must face. Hermione's heart skipped a beat. She nodded reluctantly and then silently walked over to the three of them. Being protected by a girl made Harry and Ron feel uncomfortable, but one of them was disarmed, and the other's wand had rebound properties, rendering them helpless. Aaron summoned his black wand with the flying charm. Then, let's start the second round. Although I don't want to admit it, Ron is right. There's only one way forward for me, and that's to kill you. Really? Riddle smiled mysteriously, then walked to the statue, staring at the face of the stone statue of Salazar Slytherin hidden in the darkness. Realizing what he was about to do, Aaron's face changed slightly. Hey, isn't it a bit unkind to do this? You don't need to release the basilisk to deal with us. I just want to teach you a lesson. Only those who survive are eligible to duel with me, Riddle hissed, and the stone statue's mouth slowly opened. He's summoning a basilisk, Harry reminded in a panic. I can see it, Aaron cursed, his hands not idle. He immediately carved a white magic circle full of sacred aura on the floor. Chapter 192, Conceited People Are Easier to Deceive. The magic circle emitted a white light, dispelling the darkness in the secret room. This time, crimson flames gushed out of the formation, and Aaron consumed more than double the mana than before. As the light dissipated, two magical creatures appeared, a white holy dragon and a red phoenix. Abe flew up to Aaron, fluttering his wings as if seeking praise. How is it? This is the strong support I found. I was wondering why you looked so tired, but are you sure you found this phoenix? Aaron glanced at Fox, who had thrown the sorting hat in front of Harry and now sat quietly on his shoulder. The corners of Aaron's mouth twitched. I'm too embarrassed to call you out on it. At that moment, a rumbling sound came from above. The statue of Salazar opened its mouth wide, and the sound of a snake spitting out a message clearly reached everyone's ears. Take Ginny and run quickly. Don't look back, Aaron said immediately. Go to the barrier. As long as there is a rooster crowing, the basilisk will not dare to approach. Then what about you? Harry asked worriedly. You can't defeat the basilisk alone. I have my ways. Aaron took a deep breath, stretched his right hand in midair, and drew a long silver sword from a red magic circle. What are you doing standing there? I was trained to fight with my eyes closed, but you can't. The three immediately hugged the cold Ginny. At that moment, Fox flew away from Harry's shoulder, the red figure heading straight for the ceiling. Come back, Fox, Harry shouted anxiously. The phoenix was amazing, but he didn't think it could beat the basilisk. Their sizes were too different. However, the following scene subverted their expectations. Fox circled the basilisk, meeting its gaze without hesitation, completely immune to the basilisk's magic. On the shoulder of the statue of Salazar, the basilisk raised its body, thicker than a tree trunk, and opened its sharp fangs, angrily biting at Fox. Fox did not retreat but advanced, avoiding the fangs and flying to the top of the basilisk. The long golden beak pierced the basilisk's green scales, pecking at its head several times in a row. Black blood spilled from above to the ground. The basilisk, in immense pain, twisted its body and fell from the stone statue to the floor, causing the ground to tremble continuously. But Fox didn't stop. His two claws pierced into the yellow eyes of the basilisk, and the sight of flesh and blood from their claws made everyone present feel particularly sick to their stomachs. When they realized the basilisk was blind and its magic could no longer be used, several people couldn't help but feel a bit relieved. Although it had lost its eyes, the basilisk still had fangs and a huge body, but its deterrent effect had been greatly reduced. At least now, everyone had the courage to face it. No, get away from that bird, get away from that bird, Riddle screamed angrily. Looking at the proud four, he restrained his emotions. Don't be too happy. Even without eyes, the basilisk can still hear, judge, and smell your scent. It can easily kill you. Huh? I have to say something about this. What you said doesn't include me. At first, I thought I had to cover my eyes to kill the snake, but I didn't expect the difficulty to drop by more than half. I'm somewhat confident in dealing with a giant snake that can't see, Aaron said lightly. Riddle gritted his teeth and was about to swing his wand to attack. You said just now don't want to interfere. Could it be that the famous Dark Lord doesn't keep his word? You, Riddle sneered. You don't really think that a phoenix can kill a basilisk, do you? Even if the basilisk is covered in bruises, it would be easy to kill a few little wizards. While speaking, a snake tail swept over, mixed with the sound of the wind, like a green wall rolling over. The three of them immediately put Ginny down and lay on the ground to avoid the attack. Aaron raised his long sword to block the basilisk's tail, and the silver blade cut into the snake's flesh like a hot knife through butter. Although he managed to wound the basilisk, the force pushed him back more than 10 meters before he could stop. Aaron, are you okay? Harry asked, concerned. I'm fine, Aaron replied. The basilisk is too big. Even though my sword is sharp, it's hard to inflict fatal wounds. The wound on its tail only enraged the basilisk further. It straightened up, knocked the phoenix away, and then lunged at Aaron with its bloody mouth wide open. The basilisk's fangs gleamed coldly, and venom comparable to strong acid oozed from between its teeth. Aaron remained calm, sidestepping the forked tongue as it lashed out. He then thrust his sword precisely into the basilisk's jaw, causing black blood to spurt out. The basilisk screamed in pain, trying to shake Aaron off, but he held on tightly. The first black magic crystal on the hilt of his sword began to flicker, greedily absorbing the basilisk's blood and venom. After enduring several hits against the pillars, Aaron saw the second magic crystal light up. He then pulled out his sword and put some distance between himself and the basilisk. That's incredible, but isn't it a bit exaggerated? Ron couldn't help but comment. Harry nodded blankly, while little stars twinkled in Hermione's eyes. Suddenly, a hissing sound came from behind them. Hermione immediately stood in front of Harry and Ron, raising her wand nervously. Is the majestic Dark Lord really going back on his word? She asked. He's not going back on his word, Harry said tearfully. He's letting the basilisk deal with us first. What? Hermione exclaimed. Isn't it normal to clean up the garbage on the chessboard first? Riddle said with a sinister smile. Gaius is qualified to be my opponent, but you lot are just an eyesore. Ron swallowed hard and looked at Harry in desperation. What are you talking about? Aren't you a parseltongue? You should be able to control the basilisk, right? Riddle laughed wildly, his expression becoming ferocious. Parseltongue won't help you. It only obeys me, the heir of Slytherin with the blood of Salazar. The basilisk abandoned Aaron and charged at them with its green body. Hermione cast several impediment spells, but the pale golden light bounced off the basilisk. Even the raised stones she conjured on the floor only slowed it down slightly. It's a little talent, but the basilisk is a top-notch magical creature. With your current magic power, you'll only delay your death by a few seconds. Riddle gloated, finally emerging from the diary. Watching first-year wizards struggle in despair was a pleasure for him. What should we do? Ron said incoherently. We don't have Aaron's exaggerated melee combat abilities. Take Ginny and avoid this round first, Hermione suggested, though she was unsure what to do as the green snake head got closer. Harry wanted to say something, but at that moment, dots of light shone from within the sorting hat. He reached in with his right hand and pulled out a shiny silver sword with a red gem the size of an egg on the hilt. Unlike Aaron's long sword, the sword in Harry's hand was slightly thinner and more luxurious, as if prepared for a duel. All right, Harry collected himself. Inspired by Aaron's performance, great courage surged within him. Hermione and Aaron's earlier efforts had shown that their current level of magic couldn't handle the ancient giant snake, but cold weapons could still cause it harm. The current basilisk is definitely scarred, and it might be possible to kill it with a fight. Let me try. You guys stay back for a while, Harry said. You're crazy, Ron exclaimed in astonishment. Harry didn't answer. He just stood his ground, staring straight at the basilisk's bloody, venomous mouth. Abe, Aaron yelled. The dragon's chant sounded like heavenly music to everyone's ears. The 3-meter-high holy dragon exuded a white, holy brilliance. One of its paws pressed down on the top of the basilisk's head, forcing it to stop a few meters in front of Harry. Harry looked at the giant dragon so close at hand and was momentarily stunned. Hermione and Ron were also dumbfounded. They had seen Abe's transformation last year, but back then it was only a little over a meter long, nothing compared to its current size. Roar! Abe roared, pressing its 2 dragon claws against the upper and lower jaws of the basilisk. A white magic circle appeared in front of him, ready to send a dragon's breath into the basilisk's body. Abe was confident. Although the basilisk was several times bigger, this move would definitely cook it. However, Aaron's low voice interrupted. "Don't kill it. If you do, I'll have to face the young Voldemort. I can't beat him now, even with you, Fox, and the others in the secret room. It's probably not enough. I need time to prepare. Also, find Riddle's diary, but don't act rashly. This is crucial for our survival." Abe paused, swallowed the flame that had reached his mouth, then flapped his wings and used his sharp claws to draw a long gash on the basilisk. The basilisk hissed in pain, twisting its body, allowing Harry and the others to escape from its mouth. "What are you doing? Hide now!" Aaron reminded angrily. Harry nodded hastily, following Ron and Hermione. They took Ginny, who was cold, and hid behind a snake post at the entrance. "Was that dragon language just now?" Riddle said with some surprise. "You are really talented, and you have a magical dragon by your side." "Wonderful praise," Aaron replied, waving his hand and looking at the 2 black magic crystals that lit up on the hilt of his sword, pretending not to care. A look of disappointment flashed in his eyes. "I'm curious. The dragon could have killed the basilisk just now. Why did you stop it?" "Because fairness," Aaron said seriously, though it was nonsense. "You said I would do whatever it takes to achieve my goals like you, but there are still some bottom lines that must be adhered to. You could have easily killed Harry and the others just now, but you didn't. Even if the basilisk was at a huge disadvantage, you held back. You kept your promise, and I naturally have to make this duel fairer." "Humph." Riddle's mouth raised slightly, and he said with a light smile, "You are worthy of your noble blood. I really saw you right, Aaron Gaius. As long as you can defeat the basilisk, I don't have to kill you today. It's a pity for someone like you to die. Wait, after I rule the wizarding world, I will definitely pay a visit. I hope your choice will be wiser then." Aaron felt inexplicably flattered. Sure enough, conceited people are easier to deceive. Chapter 193. Killing the Snake, Playing with Heartbeats. A hissing sound emanated from Riddle's mouth as the basilisk slithered up in front of him, coiling around itself. It raised its head high, flicking its forked tongue, its black eye sockets mixed with flesh and blood, appearing extremely ferocious under the dim light. "Smell it well and remember the scent. Go ahead and kill him," Riddle commanded. The basilisk opened its mouth, revealing a mixture of blood and venom, and its head lunged forward swiftly. Aaron dodged in a panic, not rushing to fight back, but instead leading the basilisk in circles around the secret chamber. As he ran wildly, the long sword in his hand slashed across the floor, creating brilliant sparks as the sharp edge rubbed against the rocks. The basilisk charged repeatedly, but with his physical fitness far beyond that of ordinary people, Aaron was always able to dodge in a thrilling manner, without even blushing or panting. At this moment, Aaron's admiration for Hog Gaius surged like a river. Although the training had been exhausting and the medicinal baths painful, the resulting physique was truly remarkable. Due to its loss of sight, the basilisk couldn't effectively locate its target and could only launch large-scale attacks following Aaron's scent. Its massive body twisted constantly, and black blood seeped into the ground with each movement. Despite the pain and massive blood loss, the basilisk seemed to possess inexhaustible strength, determined to kill its target. 10 minutes later, most of the pillars in the secret chamber were broken, and a layer of sweat oozed from Aaron's forehead. "Gaius, are you just going to keep running?" Riddle sneered. "The painting is almost done, and a lot of the basilisk's blood has been drained," Aaron replied, leaning on his sword and standing on the right foot of the statue of Salazar Slytherin. Although his chest was rising and falling, and his breathing was faster, his eyes shone with excitement. A huge magic circle below slowly took shape, with the basilisk's blood seeping into the formation, adding a coldness to it, but also enhancing its power. Riddle, hearing Aaron's response, thought deeply. After a while, he noticed the pattern on the ground and frowned slightly, realizing he was standing at the core of the magic circle. A hissing sound came from his mouth, and the basilisk stopped attacking, its head turning towards Aaron, secretly locking onto its target. "Is this your plan?" Riddle asked. "That's right," Aaron said proudly. "This is the pinnacle work of my current life. With the blessing of the basilisk's blood, this magic circle has surpassed the advanced level and barely reached the ultimate level." "I'm surprised. There are still people fighting with magic circles these days," Riddle said meaningfully. "You are wasting your talent. Magic circles have been obsolete for hundreds of years." "It may take longer," Aaron spread his hands and said helplessly. "To be honest, I don't understand why my tutor taught me this. Elemental magic circles have corresponding spells, such as flame spells, clear water spells, and non-elemental spells. There are also spells corresponding to space magic circles, such as apparition, portkeys, flue powder, and spells for summoning magic circles like the flying curse and oolong out of hole. Defensive magic circles have spells like the shield charm and patronus charm. As for magic circles related to the soul, they are even more difficult, but the absorption of spiritual thoughts and the imperious curse are much simpler and effective. However, the magic circle has its advantages. It can maximize a wizard's potential and release power several times stronger than a spell." Riddle raised his eyebrows and sighed slightly. "In a real battle, your enemy won't give you a chance to prepare." "Just practice more," Aaron replied with a confident smile. "As long as you are proficient enough, instant casting is not impossible, and the magic of the magic circle may not be inferior to the magic spell. I don't think it's a waste of talent." "It makes sense," Riddle clapped his hands. "You really surprised me. However, you have overlooked some important points. The magic circle can't help you in the face of an absolute gap in strength." "True. You are a magister, and I am just a junior magister. Even if I can increase the attack power by a few levels through this magic circle, it can only pose a threat to you, and it is not fatal. It's good to know that everything you do is meaningless." "Not necessarily. I'll wait and see, but before that, you have to survive." Riddle looked at the basilisk and uttered Parseltongue. The basilisk opened its huge mouth and rushed over. This time its target was very clear. Aaron immediately set up a defensive posture, holding the long sword horizontally in front of his body. The magic energy in his body poured into the hilt of the sword like a flood. Just when the basilisk's fangs were about to pierce Aaron's body, the third magic crystal on the hilt of the sword emitted a bright light. Swish! A sharp silver light flashed suddenly, cutting through the darkness of the secret room. The basilisk stopped in front of Aaron, making an indistinct sound, but remained motionless. Riddle opened his mouth in astonishment and shivered uncontrollably. He had actually felt a deadly threat. That flash of light had the power to kill his soul. The next moment, the basilisk's huge body split into two, and the incision was extremely smooth. Black blood spurted out, and large pieces of flesh and white bones were exposed to the air. Vomit! Harry, Ron, and Hermione, who were watching the battle from a distance, felt their stomachs churning at the sight and vomited out their breakfast and lunch uncontrollably. After all, they were only 13 years old. Although they had rich experiences, they had never seen such a gruesome scene. "Huh?" Aaron curled his lips in disgust. "The three of you have such poor mental quality. It's just a corpse. What's the matter?" "Why not?" Ron's face was pale, his legs trembling uncontrollably. "Normal people would throw up when they see this. This is much more terrifying than Aragog." Harry and Hermione nodded in agreement. At this moment, they suddenly felt a little envious of Ginny. The half-dead state is scary, but at least you don't have to worry about it like they do. Courage still needs to be practiced. Aaron shook his head disdainfully. He hadn't wasted his time during his vacation. Gaius had dissected a corpse in front of him in the first class, and it became more intense day by day after that. After 2 months, he had already been reborn. Let alone a basilisk. Even if a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood were in front of him, he wouldn't frown. What was that just now? Riddle asked vigilantly. That is definitely not magic that a wizard of your age can use. Don't be nervous. I won't be able to cut the second sword in a short time. Riddle came to his senses, looked at the silver-long sword in Aaron's hand, and was relieved to find that all 3 magic crystals on the hilt had turned dim. It was hard for him to get out of the diary, and he was about to be resurrected completely. If he was attacked by that kind of power at this time, he would die too unjustly. This sword was made by my ancestors. The first magic crystal absorbs blood, the second magic crystal absorbs stamina, and the third magic crystal absorbs the user's magic power. Every time a magic crystal is lit, the power increases exponentially. Unfortunately, only one strike can be made at a time. Someone once killed an adult dragon with this sword, and I killed a 1,000-year-old giant snake with it today, which is not considered as burying it. Very good, very good. Riddle squeezed out a smile. The Gaius family has successfully aroused my interest. I really don't know what. Aaron shook his head. Voldemort couldn't threaten our families at the height of his power, let alone Tom Riddle. Maybe it's not that there's no threat, it's just that there's no time, Riddle said meaningfully, his cold eyes sweeping towards Harry Potter. In his opinion, Voldemort's magic was invincible, otherwise it wouldn't have made the wizarding world so fearful. It was only because he was accidentally tricked by the magic of a baby that the magical families hiding in the dark escaped. It's you and me next, Riddle said, picking up Harry's wand. The descendants of Salazar Slytherin will defeat you, then kill the child who left Voldemort in shame and reign over the entire magical world again. Not necessarily, Aaron replied. It seems you are very confident in this magic circle. Riddle sneered. It's specially prepared for you. You have to test its power. Aaron retorted. Do you think I will give you that chance? Riddle laughed. With my ability, I can leave before you activate this magic circle. Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared. Unfortunately for you, I happen to be very confident in my preparation, Aaron said. Hearing this, Riddle's face darkened, and he unconsciously moved to leave the range of the magic circle. Are you scared? Aaron teased. It seems that the famous Voldemort is nothing more than that now. Riddle paused, clenched his hands tightly, and slowly raised his wand. With your strength, even if you activate the magic circle, you won't be able to threaten me. If you don't try some things, you will never be reconciled, Aaron said, throwing a long sword in front of Riddle and drawing out his wand. Reducto, Aaron shouted. Crucio, Riddle countered. 2 spells, one red and one green, collided in midair. Riddle's spell quickly overwhelmed Aaron's. See, this is Voldemort's power, Riddle said arrogantly. Before you surrender, experience the unforgivable curse. Seeing this, Aaron immediately communicated with the system in his mind. The magic points I have accumulated for so long are to be used wisely. Hurry up and raise my magic power to the elementary level of a magister. Soon, Aaron felt his magic energy soaring rapidly until he broke through the bottleneck of 5,000. As the strength of the wizard increases, the energy of the spell naturally increases. The bone-crushing curse's retreat speed also slowed down a lot. Although it was less than 2 meters away from Aaron, it also bought him more time. This is impossible, Riddle said in disbelief. How could you still hide so much strength? You are only 13 years old, and you have reached the realm of a magister. Don't worry, the more surprising thing is yet to come, Aaron said. Riddle was a little annoyed, but quickly laughed. I see. Is this your trump card? Use the magister's mana to activate the magic circle. Do you think this can kill me? Normally not, but you can't spare it now, Aaron replied. Riddle's expression changed drastically. He was really helpless now, and it was hard to say whether he could hold up. You are also within the attack range. If you activate the magic circle, you will also suffer the same damage, Riddle pointed out. That's what you said, but you overlooked some things, Aaron said with a bright smile, which in Riddle's eyes was extremely cold. Although I am a few years younger than you, my physical fitness is far superior to yours. The difference in physique at the critical moment is fatal. I am definitely more able to withstand it than you. After taking the attack, I will definitely recover faster than you. At this time, what we are playing is a game of endurance, and my chances of winning are slightly higher. Chapter 194. the importance of compensation. "You lunatic! You are a lunatic! What good will this do you?" Riddle yelled, increasing the power of his spell. The Cruciatus Curse advanced forward by several centimeters. Aaron, however, was fiercely consuming his own magical energy to support the bone-crushing curse. The gap in strength between the two had significantly narrowed, and Riddle's hope for a quick victory was now an extravagant dream. "No benefit, but making the enemy suffer means I've done nothing wrong," Aaron retorted. "Aaron Gaius," Riddle gritted his teeth angrily. "Didn't I say I wouldn't kill you? Why fight me? Isn't this all forced by you?" Aaron looked both sad and angry. "I don't want to do this either, but as the saying goes, if you are not afraid of thieves stealing, you are afraid of thieves thinking about it. If I don't kill you today, there will be a Voldemort staring at me in the future, and no one can stand it." Riddle's old face darkened, and the corners of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. He prided himself on his self-control, but at this moment he had the urge to yell. However, he quickly thought of something, a smirk appearing on the corner of his mouth. He calmed down and asked meaningfully, "The plan is good, but have you thought about what to do if it fails?" "You can rest assured, I have considered it comprehensively. Ideally, you die and I live, but it's not unacceptable for both of us to suffer. Don't forget that I have a phoenix, a holy dragon, and 3 second-year wizards on my side. Although they can't help much in battle, they can handle simpler tasks like finishing you off," Aaron said lightly, but his words struck Riddle hard. Riddle could accept being defeated by Aaron, a genius, but he could not bear the thought of being finished off by a few young wizards, especially Harry Potter. It was a great insult. "I won't give you a chance," Riddle said seriously. "As long as you don't activate this magic circle, your plan has no chance of succeeding." "It's not as if I need a chance," Aaron said with difficulty, taking out a second wand and aiming his free left hand at the magic circle on the ground. "Wait a minute," Harry hurriedly stopped Aaron. "We can help, and it should be possible to buy you a few seconds." "No, I'm begging you, don't be a waste of help," Aaron said in a panic. "If you join now, he can hook up the spell and drag you into the magic circle, making it even more difficult." "Well, what if we attack from a distance?" Ron asked. "That's even worse. He can retreat outside the magic circle, and my plan will really be aborted." "Don't be so cautious, you can try," Riddle chuckled lightly, his voice full of temptation. The three of them shuddered in unison and silently retreated a certain distance. "Aaron, what can we do?" Hermione asked worriedly. "Is there no other way?" "If there were, I wouldn't be doing this. All in all, don't worry about me. I'm sure I won't die. Be ready to finish him off, but remember to be quick and ruthless. Don't give him the slightest chance." Riddle's expression grew serious. He felt that Aaron might have noticed something, but at this moment he didn't dare to ask too much. His opponent was too shrewd, and it would be bad if Aaron really noticed something. Aaron added the last part to the magic circle. The black blood on the formation quickly evaporated and turned reddish-brown, and the magic circle shone with a dark red light. There was a faint sizzling sound in the air, and black lightning flashed in and out. At first, it was only as thick as a hair, but in the blink of an eye, it formed an extremely ferocious black thunder snake. The thunder snake jumped out of the magic circle with a roar and flew straight to the ceiling. The escaping electric charge shocked the two of them, leaving them stunned. Riddle trembled all over, trying to stay away from the magic circle beneath their feet. The thunderstorm brewing above their heads was menacing, and if it struck, they would either die or be severely injured. Aaron, however, was holding him in place with a bone-crushing curse, not giving him a chance to retreat. "Madman, do you want to die with me?" Riddle shouted. "It's a good idea, but you don't deserve to die with me," Aaron replied righteously. "By the way, a friendly reminder, the main material of that sword is mithril, which is quite conductive." "What?" Riddle looked at the silver long sword embedded in the ground before him. The electric arc on it was clearly visible, and his eyes widened involuntarily. This was not just a sword, it was a large lightning rod, rumbling. The black razor opened its fangs and fell vertically from above, aiming directly at the core of the magic circle. But as it descended, Razor seemed to sense something, and part of its energy diverted towards Riddle, or more precisely, towards the silver long sword in front of him. In this way, the thunderstorm's energy was divided, 7 parts to Riddle, 3 parts to Aaron. Under the baptism of the thunderstorm, both Aaron and Riddle were forced to remove their respective spells, only having time to let out tragic wails. The entire secret room shook constantly, with gravel and dust mixed with clear lake water falling from the ceiling. Harry, Ron, and Hermione were also swayed by the impact, staring dumbfounded at the 2 human-shaped skeletons bathed in the thunder. A few seconds later, the magic circle disappeared along with the thunder, leaving 2 figures charred black on the cracked ground. "Aaron," Hermione murmured in a low voice, quickly running towards him. Harry and Ron followed her, with Ginny close behind. "There must be nothing wrong with you." Hermione carefully turned Aaron's face over, her eyes red from crying with worry. She was at a loss, not knowing what to do. As a top student, she knew many spells, but she had never learned healing spells, so she couldn't help at all. "He must be alive," Harry said, though not entirely sure. "The Aaron Gaius I know wouldn't risk his life if he wasn't sure." "Let's take him to the professor's," Ron suggested, but then withdrew his hands resentfully. "This won't work either. The barrier will take at least half a day to break." "It doesn't matter. Take him there first," Hermione insisted, wiping away her tears. "At least they can tell us how to deal with emergencies." At this moment, the Phoenix Fox flew to Aaron, shedding a few crystal-clear tears that dripped onto Aaron's face. The scorched black on his face faded significantly, revealing a healthy rosy color. "That's right, the tears of the Phoenix can heal wounds," Harry suddenly realized. "Aaron is saved." Hermione also breathed a sigh of relief, smiling at the Phoenix with blurred eyes. "Thank you, Fox." After a while, Aaron opened his eyes in a daze, saw 3 familiar faces, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "I really survived." "Still talking." Hermione rolled her eyes at him. "You almost died, you know that?" "I won't die. I still have a bottle of potion. Abe would have saved me in time," Aaron explained. "By the way, where is my dragon cub?" "I don't know. I haven't seen it," Harry replied. "Forget it. Since the winner is decided, that thing is not that important." "What?" Hermione asked, puzzled. Aaron didn't answer but waved his hands and forced himself to sit up. "Can you help me get the sword back first?" Harry nodded, pulled out the long silver sword, and handed it to Aaron. "The quality of this sword is really good. It's fine even after being struck so hard by lightning. That's natural. If the quality wasn't up to standard, I wouldn't dare take it out and use it," Aaron said. Harry was stunned for a moment, then turned his head to look at the 2 basilisks that were still steaming after being roasted by lightning. He was speechless. "Speaking of which," Aaron began, but his voice trailed off as he examined the sword. "You're only in the 2nd grade. Isn't your ability a bit too much?" Ron said with a mix of envy and frustration. "Forget about the prefects. Even the graduates probably can't beat you." Aaron gave him a contemptuous look and explained confidently, "I just spent all the time you waste being distracted on studying. The time you spend playing, I use for training, and the time you spend plotting mischief, I use for thinking." Ron was speechless. Why do these words sound so sad? "I agree with the first 2 points, but there's really no conspiracy," Ron protested. "Really? Then explain the polyjuice potion incident," Aaron challenged. This. Ron hesitated, glancing awkwardly at Harry and Hermione, hoping they would back him up since they were all involved. However, one of them looked at the ceiling, while the other stared at the ground, cooperating quite tacitly. They weren't stupid. It was better for one to be embarrassed than all 3. Aaron shook his head playfully and turned his attention to Ginny, who was still unconscious but had more color in her face. "How is she?" "Better than before, but still unconscious," Ron replied, looking at Aaron gratefully. "Thank you for defeating Tom Riddle and saving my sister. I wouldn't have known what to do." "You're welcome. I did it for myself, too. It wouldn't do me any good if Voldemort came back to life." "It really pains me to hear that." Riddle's voice echoed clearly in everyone's ears, and they turned to look at him in horror. Riddle, covered in scorched black, stood up slowly. His injuries were healing at a visible rate, but his form was much more blurred than before. Aaron was stunned for a moment, then turned to Harry, Hermione, and Ron. "Don't tell me I didn't finish him off just now. We saw him hurt so badly." Harry said anxiously, but Aaron's stern look silenced him. Hermione and Ron also turned pale, trembling with fear. They had thought Riddle was on the brink of death, but he had resurrected almost instantly. "This is a disaster. How can you be so unreliable?" Aaron said bitterly. At that moment, he felt the horror of having incompetent teammates. The good situation he had worked so hard to create was now overturned by Voldemort. "Harry Potter, I thank you from the bottom of my heart," Riddle laughed loudly. "I truly felt death brush past me just now." "Fire!" Hermione suddenly yelled, but Riddle simply raised his wand, canceling the fire curse and sending Hermione's wand flying. If it was just a moment ago, that spell might have been a threat. But now, this kind of fire can't even be used to keep warm, Riddle mocked. Hermione took a few steps back in fear. Harry picked up the long sword and charged with a roar, but he was hit by a pale white light and flew back to the feet of his friends within a few steps. Ron immediately helped him up, trembling. "Aaron, can you use that spell again? At worst, we'll all get struck by lightning together," Ron pleaded. Chapter 195, The Diary is the Key. "I want to too," Aaron said tearfully, "but I'm out of strength, and do you think he'll give us a second chance?" Riddle's face twisted into a smug smile. Having personally experienced the terrifying baptism of thunder, he dared not give Aaron another chance to draw a magic circle. The future Voldemort had learned what it meant to capsize in the gutter, and the present Tom Riddle did not want to experience the same shame. "That means we can only fight him," Harry said seriously, eyeing the wand in Riddle's hand. Suddenly an idea struck him. "Aaron, lend me your wand." "What?" Aaron's mouth twitched slightly. "Even if your brain is twitching, you have to pay attention to the occasion. Now you don't have much magic power, but I do. All I need is a wand." Hearing this, Ron also reacted. His wand was useless, but Aaron's wand was still in good condition. It made sense to borrow it. "I also—" "Don't," Aaron interrupted, rolling his eyes. "Even if I'm in a bad state, the wand in my hand is definitely more effective than yours." "Ginny's wand," Hermione reminded. "You can use Ginny's." Ron didn't hesitate and took out a black wand from Ginny's pocket. "Are you ready?" Riddle ignored the four young wizards, playing with the wand in his hand meaningfully. "Today, you will know the meaning of despair." Roar! A sudden roar echoed through the chamber, and a white figure flew over, forcing Riddle back a few meters with a burst of red dragon flame. "That damned dragon!" "Abe!" Aaron looked at the dragon with relief and heaved a sigh of relief when he found the black diary in his pocket. Abe smiled and jumped in front of Aaron, raving. It roughly meant that the basilisk had lost the diary while biting everywhere, and it had taken a lot of effort to retrieve it from under a collapsed pillar. "Nice job, you saved us all this time." At this moment, Aaron no longer had any scruples. Originally, he had planned to add all the remaining magic points to his mana, plus the rewards for completing 2 tasks, which would be enough to raise his strength to the peak of a mid-level magister. At that time, he would have the capital to confront Riddle head-on. Although it might still be impossible to beat him, after all, the opponent's accumulation was not to be underestimated. With the addition of Abe and Fox, they would not be without a chance of winning. 46 was a bit extravagant, but 55 was still possible. But now that the Horcrux was in his hands, it was equivalent to holding Tom Riddle's life. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't turn the tables. "It's a pity, Tom Riddle," Aaron said meaningfully. "The outcome has been decided. This time, you're dead." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Riddle frowned. "Although I admire you very much, both in terms of talent and character, this does not mean that I can endure your disrespect again and again." Aaron couldn't help but sneer, seeing the black lines on Riddle's face. "I'm sorry. I just think you're too self-righteous and don't realize when you're about to die." "What do you mean?" Aaron shrugged and took out the diary from Abe's pocket. "This thing should be a Horcrux." "Stop." Riddle was shocked, looking at Aaron nervously. "Do you know what this means?" "Of course I know. This is your life." Harry and the others also analyzed the meaning of the diary from Riddle's expression and collectively breathed a sigh of relief. Although it felt strange, the situation had changed drastically, and the initiative was now in their hands. "Destroy it, and Riddle will die," Harry said excitedly. "Hogwarts will be at peace, and Ginny will wake up." You're not hopeless after all. Harry felt as though his heart had been stabbed with a sword, and it hurt so badly. But when he thought about the ridiculous things they had done, he could only laugh awkwardly. Horcruxes are not so easy to destroy, Aaron continued, his voice steady. But with the right tools and determination, we can end this. With a determined look, Aaron raised Ed the diary, ready to put an end to Tom Riddle once and for all. To destroy, Riddle said confidently, though to the ears of several people, he sounded extremely guilty. In normal circumstances, ordinary spells can't do anything to this diary. But unfortunately for you, there are at least 4 ways to destroy it in this secret room. Aaron chuckled. Gaius's sword, you've seen the power of this sword before. Riddle's expression turned ugly, but Harry and the others grinned. Secondly, the poisonous fangs of the basilisk and the venom of magical creatures that have lived for thousands of years should also be able to destroy Horcruxes. Third, dragon breath. Abe's dragon flame has a strong restraining effect on dark magic such as Horcruxes. Riddle couldn't take it anymore. He knew he had to get the diary back, or he would die. Avada Kedavra, a green, ominous spell shot out from the tip of his wand, accompanied by a chaotic sound, the target clear. Although Riddle admired Aaron and hoped he would assist him, a potential assistant was nothing compared to the temptation of resurrection. Fourth, the killing curse, Aaron sneered and threw the diary out. Boom! The diary was hit by the unforgivable curse, turning gray-white in mid-air. Black ink exploded from it, spilling all over the floor. Riddle's body was covered with white light holes, and he screamed in agony, turning into flying ash amidst his tragic wailing. Pat! Harry's wand fell to the ground, making a few splashes. It should be over now, right? Harry asked uncertainly. Riddle won't be resurrected again, will he? Unless he has a fatal friendship with death, otherwise. Ginny groaned suddenly, opened her eyes, and sat up blankly. Where is this? Aaron shrugged and said half-jokingly, It seems that the god of death is quite fair. You're finally awake, Ron said happily, giving Ginny a hug. It's all right, Ginny. Riddle is dead. His basilisk was killed by Aaron, and it's over. Ginny looked at the gray and white diary and the basilisk that had been cut in two. Her eyes turned red from crying in fear, and tears fell down. Sorry, I did it, but I really didn't mean to. It's Riddle, and he got me. No one will blame a little girl who almost died, Aaron comforted. Besides, the mandrake has grown, and the petrification state will be lifted immediately for the victims. I won't be expelled, Ginny cried. Mom and Dad will be very sad. You can rest assured that you will not be expelled, Aaron said confidently. Dumbledore will be able to return to school soon. Although he always loses the chain at critical moments, it cannot be denied that he is not bad for students. Myrtle died 50 years ago, and Hagrid was wrong to become the heir of Slytherin. It was Dumbledore's insistence that kept him at Hogwarts. You are also a victim this time, and more importantly, no one was killed. We found the Chamber of Secrets, killed the basilisk, and cleared a huge hidden danger for Hogwarts. No matter how you look at it, it can be regarded as meritorious service, and he has no reason to punish you. Hearing this, Ginny's face brightened. Thank you, Aaron. You're welcome, Aaron waved his hand. But in the future, we should pay more attention to magical props with self-consciousness. If there is another time, it may not be able to save you. Let's wait at the entrance first. Hermione reminded, then carefully helped Aaron up. You are really not in a good condition now. Harry also hurriedly supported Aaron's other side, as if handling a piece of fine porcelain for fear of bumping into him. Ron comforted his younger sister, telling her what had happened while helping her walk towards the entrance. Wait, my ring! Aaron suddenly stopped in his tracks. That's very important. Has any of you seen it? Is that it? Ginny pointed to a puddle of water where a medieval ring gleamed faintly. Abe ran over immediately and brought the ring to Aaron. Hermione picked it up and was about to put it on for Aaron, but the next moment she felt a weakness in her knees. Hermione staggered slightly before regaining her balance. You, she gasped, looking at Aaron in astonishment. She had felt the immense power of the ring firsthand, and now understood why Voldemort valued Aaron so highly. Genius comes in different grades, she thought. While she considered herself far above her peers compared to prodigies like Aaron and Voldemort, she felt insignificant. The gap between them was unfathomable. "Don't tell anyone," Aaron said meaningfully as he put on the ring. Hermione nodded blankly and continued to support him as they moved forward. After climbing a ladder and passing through a narrow tunnel, they saw the gray-white barrier again. "Professor, we're out!" Ron yelled. Professor McGonagall, seeing Ginny Weasley emerge, felt a wave of relief and smiled excitedly. "Thank God, Ginny, you're alive." With no lives lost, the situation was not beyond repair. It would be easier for Hogwarts to handle the aftermath and provide an explanation to the Weasleys. "Professor, don't just look at her," Aaron said weakly. "I need a doctor." Only then did the four professors notice Aaron's extreme weakness, and their hearts skipped a beat. The barrier had obstructed their view, and they had assumed Aaron was fine since Harry and the others were unharmed. They hadn't expected the most serious injuries to be his. "Gaius, are you okay?" Professor Snape immediately approached the barrier and cast a spell, but the curtain wall only shook slightly, with little effect. "Minerva, when will Dumbledore arrive?" Snape asked urgently. "Don't worry too much, I won't die just yet," Aaron said with a faint smile. "It's just that my whole body is numb, and I can't muster much strength." "You?" Snape raised an eyebrow at the rosiness on Aaron's face. "How did you end up like this?" "That's normal. After all, the opponent was a giant snake dozens of feet long, plus a 16-year-old genius wizard," Aaron replied. "I know, but there's nothing wrong with them," Snape said, his face darkening. He knew Aaron was talented, but it was foolish to be a hero and put himself in such danger. "We couldn't get in at all," Harry explained, embarrassed. "Riddle easily disarmed us. If it wasn't for Aaron, we might not have made it back." "That's right, that giant magic." Hermione coughed and gave Ron a warning look, stopping him from continuing. "What giant magic?" Professor Flitwick asked, unable to contain his curiosity. Nothing," Ron said, sneaking a guilty glance at Aaron, almost revealing the secret. Aaron's mouth twitched slightly. There was no need to be so nervous. The card he had played was no longer a secret. Chapter 196. Try not to show off. A white streamer fell in front of everyone, and Dumbledore looked at the wizards within the barrier with a smile on his face. His smile grew even wider when he saw Fawkes perched on Harry's shoulder. "You all gave me a big surprise and solved a problem that has plagued Hogwarts for decades," Dumbledore said warmly. "Professor, we couldn't help at all," Harry said haltingly. "It was Aaron who killed the basilisk and defeated Tom Riddle." Dumbledore nodded, then looked at Aaron, who was being supported. His eyes widened in surprise. The last time he saw Aaron, he was a mid-level senior magician. Now his strength had increased significantly in such a short time. It was astonishing. "You are stronger and more talented than I thought," Dumbledore remarked. Hermione, trembling slightly, touched the ring and knew very well that Aaron's strength was at least twice what it seemed. "Thank you for the compliment, but it's innate, and I can't help it," Aaron said indifferently. "Principal, let's talk about it when we go back. Can you break this barrier first?" Professor McGonagall interjected. Dumbledore smiled slightly, observed the off-white curtain wall, and quickly locked his target on the two green magic crystals. "It's amazing. Riddle is indeed worthy of being one of the most outstanding students Hogwarts has ever seen," Dumbledore mused. "Principal, can you hurry up?" Snape said impatiently. "My student is still waiting to be healed." "Don't be impatient, Severus," Dumbledore replied. He tore a hole in the barrier with his wand, then stretched his wand in, knocked down the two magic crystals with a spell, and the barrier crumbled and disappeared. Aaron's eyes widened in disbelief. Although Dumbledore's method of breaking the barrier was simple, the calmness with which he did it suggested that even the combined efforts of the four professors couldn't compare to him. No wonder Voldemort was so afraid. Harry and the others were also dumbfounded, but they felt a greater sense of security than surprise. With such a headmaster at Hogwarts, they were definitely the luckiest batch of students. "Tell me what happened in detail after you go back," Dumbledore said. "This is something we all need to know." Aaron weakly raised his right hand. "I won't participate. I need to go to the school hospital." "Of course, Madame Pomfrey will be waiting for you there," Dumbledore assured him. Aaron nodded, then turned around and gave the others a meaningful look. "Say as little as you can." The three of them looked at each other, feeling a bit embarrassed. They all knew that Aaron wanted to keep a low profile, but now that everything was settled, it was impossible to hide. The professors almost understood the process of solving the case, and Dumbledore could analyze the battle from the scene. They couldn't expect them not to go to the Chamber of Secrets. Okay, I was negligent, Aaron sighed slightly, glancing at the four professors before finally looking at Dumbledore. Principal, I have a small request. Can I try to have as little presence as possible? For example, say that 4 students worked together to find the legendary Chamber of Secrets and, with the help of several professors, eradicated the basilisk and the real culprit behind it. This is not very fair to you, Dumbledore said, his eyes flashing brightly. You are a great hero of Hogwarts and should be respected by everyone. Aaron pouted. He didn't believe that Dumbledore didn't understand his concerns. Being in the limelight was one thing, but this time it was too much. Killing the basilisk was one thing, but if word spread about defeating Tom Riddle, he would be thrust into the spotlight. What would Voldemort think when he found out? A 13-year-old wizard defeating him at 16. His attitude might change from admiration to jealousy, and Aaron would have to live in fear. Just tell me, can it be done? Aaron looked directly into Dumbledore's blue eyes. If it can't, I can take a bit of a loss, and ask my uncle to talk to C or Cornelius Fudge. Hearing this, Dumbledore had a look of helplessness on his face. This kid is too shrewd, knowing how to use the Ministry of Magic to suppress him. It seems there is still a long way to go to completely pull the Gaius family to the opposite side of Voldemort. It can be done, but you also need to know that your achievements cannot be erased. That's enough, Aaron replied nonchalantly. As long as he wasn't the center of attention like Harry Potter, a famous character would automatically attract everyone's attention. By the way, I just saw that Lockhart seemed to be under the petrification spell. Who did this? I did it, Albus, Professor McGonagall said angrily. Gilderoy Lockhart is just a fraud. He is a liar. All in all, he is not suitable for teaching at Hogwarts, but Azkaban is quite suitable for him. Dumbledore frowned thoughtfully. He knew Professor McGonagall well. If she was this angry, Lockhart must have caused a significant problem. However, the Defense Against the Dark Arts class would need a new teacher again. This position was too exhausting for the teachers, 1 a year. Harry and the others were called to the principal's office, where the Weasleys were also waiting. The news of Ginny's accident had really frightened them. Aaron was sent to the school hospital by Professor Snape himself, and Madame Pomfrey was surprised to see him covered in injuries. How did you do this? It's really dangerous. Just think I was struck by lightning, Aaron replied. Snape glared at him and then looked at Madame Pomfrey. Please take a closer look. He is seriously injured. Try not to leave any lasting effects. Madame Pomfrey helped Aaron to a hospital bed. Next to him was a row of petrified patients, Colin, Justin, and Pinello, all waiting for the mandrake to treat them. How could this be? Madame Pomfrey checked for a few minutes. The expression on her face changed from worry to surprise, followed by curiosity, and finally stunned. Seeing Madame Pomfrey's changing expressions, Snape couldn't help feeling a little more anxious. Can he be cured? Professor Snape, I don't know what to say, but he doesn't seem to need treatment. I'll put some bandages on him, and a night's sleep should heal him. Are you joking? I'm not joking. Mr. Gaius's physical fitness is terrifying, far exceeding that of ordinary humans. His injuries were not as serious as they looked, Madame Pomfrey said solemnly, and the speed of self-healing is very fast. Snape was stunned and looked at Aaron meaningfully. Does your family have any special blood? I don't think so, Aaron said, dumbfounded. You forgot that when I joined the Quidditch team, I was injured like a normal person. It may be that I was forced to soak in the liquid medicine for 2 months during the summer vacation. And then, what's the recipe? Madame Pomfrey asked impatiently, but she stood there in embarrassment after she finished asking. No matter how you look at it, this is a secret of the Gaius family, and it is not something she, a doctor, should inquire about. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked that question. It's understandable, just don't talk nonsense. I know how to measure, Madame Pomfrey smiled. I'll get you a bandage. Since you're fine, I'll go first. But as your teacher, I have to remind you, Try not to stand out in the future, Professor Snape said seriously, and then left the school hospital. Soon, Madame Pomfrey came back with a roll of bandages and tightly wrapped several joints on Aaron's body. It'll be all right, and you'll be healed after a night's rest. Thank you very much. This is what I should do. Madame Pomfrey stood up. You have a good rest. I have to help Professor Sprout brew the mandrake potion. There are still a few petrified patients over there. It was originally planned to let them recover tonight, but something happened in the middle, so we can only wait for tomorrow. On the other side, in the principal's office, the Weasleys held their daughter tightly in their arms, repeatedly, then king everyone. Harry and his friends exchanged knowing smiles. They hadn't played a significant role in the entire ordeal, which was understandable. Lockhart, having been freed from the petrification spell, was now restrained in a chair like a prisoner. Everyone was aware of his misdeeds and unanimously agreed to hand him over to the Ministry of Magic for investigation. The most furious among them was Mrs. Weasley. She had been a devoted fan of Lockhart's books, but today the illustrious image of her idol had completely shattered in her heart. When Professor Snape returned, he informed everyone that Aaron was fine, and they all breathed a collective sigh of relief. Harry then recounted the events to the professors, from the strange voice he could hear, to their suspicion of Aaron, to discovering most of the clues, and finally, their encounter in the Forbidden Forest with Aragog. He also mentioned Riddle's diary, but cleverly omitted the part about preparing the polyjuice potion. He didn't have the courage to admit to Snape that they had sneaked into his office to steal the ingredients. It's unbelievable that you have violated countless school rules. What you did is enough to get you expelled, Dumbledore said, looking at the group who had their heads bowed in silence. He then changed the topic with a smile. But you also discovered the Chamber of Secrets and will receive a special contribution award to the school. Hearing this, the three of them looked up excitedly. It felt like déjà vu. Principal, what about Ginny? Harry asked anxiously. What will happen to her? I know what you are worried about, Dumbledore said, picking up Tom Riddle's diary. Miss Ginny Weasley will not be punished. She should rest well. Fortunately, the holiday is coming soon, and she will have plenty of time to recover from this terrible psychological trauma. What do you mean by psychological trauma? Mrs. Weasley asked, puzzled. Riddle's diary, Ginny sobbed. I've been writing in it. It possessed me. What? Arthur Weasley was shocked. Didn't I tell you not to trust things that can think independently? This diary is obviously a dark magic artifact. Calm down, Arthur. Many wizards older than her have been deceived by Voldemort. It seems only natural that an innocent young witch could be tricked by him, Dumbledore said. Mrs. Weasley began, astonished. But what does this have to do with him? Tom Riddle was Voldemort 50 years ago, Harry explained. You know, Dumbledore looked at Harry in surprise. Few people know that he used to be called Tom Riddle. Aaron discovered it, but we don't know how he knew, Ron said. The Dark Lord paid a lot of attention to Aaron and even tried to recruit him several times. Halfway through his sentence, Harry and Hermione suddenly realized something. One gave Ron a veiled look, and the other stepped on his foot. Ron's eyes twitched slightly, and he quickly added, but Aaron sternly rejected him. Is that so? Dumbledore pondered for a few seconds, then slowly turned his gaze to Snape. Severus, you... Principal, I think your worries are completely unnecessary, Snape interrupted immediately, as if he knew what Dumbledore was going to say. Aaron would never have any contact with him. Otherwise, they would not have come out of the Chamber of Secrets safely. Actually, I just wanted to congratulate you on having a student you can be proud of, Dumbledore said. Snape, I don't know you yet. Do you think I believe it or not? Chapter 197, The Free Elf. Harry, did you forget to tell us something? Professor McGonagall prompted, her eyes narrowing slightly. For example, what happened in the Chamber of Secrets? How did you get rid of the basilisk? And how did you defeat Tom Riddle? Harry blushed, feeling a wave of embarrassment wash over him. How was he supposed to explain this? He couldn't just say that Aaron had done most of the work. Hermione and Ron had cast a few spells, but they hadn't been very effective. And what about him? He hadn't helped at all and had even lost his wand to Voldemort, their sworn enemy. It seems that Mr. Potter feels a bit embarrassed, Snape said with a sneer. If he doesn't want to share, we won't force him. Potter, Professor McGonagall said, her gaze piercing. This matter is very important. We must understand what happened. Professor, here's the thing, Hermione interjected. Aaron killed the basilisk with his family sword. Dumbledore's eyes flickered with recognition as he glanced at the ruby-studded sword on the table. This sword is Godric Gryffindor's sword, and only a true Gryffindor can draw it out. Hearing this, Harry felt a surge of relief and a smile crept onto his face. He had been questioning whether he belonged in Gryffindor, but this seemed to confirm his place. It's not that sword, sir, Hermione corrected, laughing awkwardly. Aaron's sword is larger and is inlaid with 3 black magic crystals. These crystals can absorb blood, physical strength, and magic power. After accumulating enough power, the sword released it all at once, splitting the basilisk in half. That's a giant snake of 50 or 60 feet, Professor Flitwick exclaimed, his eyes wide with astonishment. Just like that. Thanks to Fawkes, the phoenix blinded the basilisk's eyes. Otherwise, the battle would have been much more dangerous, Hermione added. Then what did you do? Snape asked, folding his arms across his chest, a sneer playing on his lips. You were quite eager to rush into the barrier. It's not that we didn't want to help, Ron muttered, looking uncomfortable. Riddle focused all his energy on Aaron. At least we managed to get Ginny to a safe place. Oh, that's right. As expected of Gryffindor, Snape said sarcastically. Severus, they are only second-year students, Professor McGonagall said, exasperated. Even for us, fighting that snake would have been a challenge. Snape shrugged and fell silent, though the mockery in his eyes remained. How did you defeat Riddle? Dumbledore asked seriously. Well, Harry hesitated before speaking. Aaron used the basilisk's blood to carve a giant magic circle on the ground, which triggered a terrifying thunderstorm that defeated Riddle. The professors exchanged glances, clearly taken aback. They had felt a slight tremor at the time, but hadn't considered the possibility of a magic circle. Such magic had been obsolete for centuries and was almost legendary. Dumbledore's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. His vast experience allowed him to understand the implications. Different people wield different levels of power when using a magic circle. To defeat a 16-year-old Voldemort, Aaron's talent and strength must be extraordinary, far beyond what he had shown on the surface. The sword that could kill a basilisk also hinted at the Gaius family's immense power and resources. It might be necessary to visit the Gaius family, Dumbledore mused, but he quickly dismissed the idea. Aaron, the sole heir of the Gaius family, disliked being involved in troublesome matters. Besides, the current wizarding world was relatively peaceful, and they might not take Voldemort seriously. All right, we've gotten to the bottom of things, but what about Aaron? Dumbledore's intention was to keep a low profile as much as possible. We have to respect his opinion and meet his small request, he said, then looked thoughtfully at Professor McGonagall. Minerva, I think Hogwarts needs to lift the martial law. We should inform the students that the Chamber of Secrets incident has been perfectly resolved. As for the specific details, it's not convenient to go into them, but the students who discovered the Chamber of Secrets and made special contributions to the school should be rewarded. Can I ask you to go to the kitchen and arrange a banquet? Wait, the banquet should be tomorrow. Tell them the good news tonight. We have to wait for the petrified students and Mr. Gaius to recover. And of course, send a letter to the Ministry of Magic to welcome back our woodland warden, Rubus Hagrid. Okay, I'll make the arrangements now, Professor McGonagall replied. Stay here, Potter, and let the others go about their business first, Dumbledore instructed. Professor McGonagall opened the door to the principal's office, and everyone left one after another. Before leaving, Professor Snape gave Harry Potter a deep, unhappy look and snorted. Sit down, Harry, Dumbledore said, stroking Fawkes and smiling. I have to thank you. You must have shown absolute loyalty to me in the Chamber of Secrets to summon Fawkes. Secondly, I sense something is bothering you, right? Harry nodded uneasily. Sir, why can I speak Parseltongue? What does this have to do with Tom Riddle? Have you noticed? Dumbledore asked calmly, not seeming surprised. If I guessed correctly, when he scarred you, he also transferred part of his magic power to you. He didn't mean to, but it was because you had a great mother." At that moment, the door was slammed open, and Lucius Malfoy walked in aggressively, followed by a trembling Dobby. The house elf looked badly wounded, with cane marks clearly visible and his body covered in bandages, making him look miserable. Harry's eyes widened. This was the first time he saw Dobby following behind his master. Although he knew that Dobby's life at the Malfoy house was not good, he didn't expect it to be this bad. Lucius had come to settle accounts in person, and Dumbledore's return to the school without his consent did not sit well with him as a director. Dumbledore remained calm and told Lucius bluntly that after the incident with Ginny Weasley, a pure-blood wizard, the other 11 directors wanted him to return to Hogwarts. Unable to overpower others with his influence, Lucius, though angry, could only shift the topic to the real culprit behind the scenes. However, he was unaware that the Chamber of Secrets had been found and that both the basilisk and the real culprit were dead. When Dumbledore produced Riddle's diary, Lucius turned pale, his hands clenching into fists. He realized that his visit was in vain and that he must keep a low profile in his future actions. He was the one who had placed the diary in Ginny's textbook at Flourish and Blots. Originally, he wanted to reduce the inventory of dark magic items at home and, by the way, discussed his old enemy Arthur Weasley. Arthur had reported that Lucius had hidden dark magic items in private. If Arthur's daughter was found to have hidden dark magic items, it would be a big joke. But in all honesty, Lucius had no idea that the diary had such powerful magic and could almost cause multiple murders. Fortunately, no one died, and the only evidence couldn't speak, or else the Malfoy family would be in significant trouble. Lucius calmed down, restrained the urge to draw his wand, and turned around, pretending to be calm. "Let's go, Dobby." Dobby turned the doorknob for his master and was kicked out by Lucius, screaming in pain. Seeing this, Harry couldn't bear it. "Principal, can you give me this diary?" "Yes," Dumbledore nodded, "but you have to hurry." Harry immediately picked up the diary and rushed out of the principal's office. As he went downstairs, Harry took off a sock and stuffed it inside the diary. He knew that if a house elf wanted to be free, they needed a piece of clothing from their master. He wasn't sure if this method would work, but he had to try. "Mr. Malfoy," Harry called out, catching up with Lucius and Draco in the corridor outside the principal's office. Out of breath, he thrust the diary into Lucius's arm. "Miss, this is yours." "I don't know what you're talking about," Lucius replied, though he took the diary and tossed it casually into Dobby's hands. He knew it was better to keep the evidence close and planned to destroy it later with a fire calendar curse. "Come on, Dobby," Lucius ordered. "Open it," Harry whispered to Dobby. Dobby opened the diary, staring at the sock inside as if it were a priceless treasure. "The master gave Dobby a sock," he said in awe. "What? I didn't give—" Lucius began, but then he saw the sock in Dobby's hands and fell silent. "The master gave Dobby clothes," Dobby repeated excitedly. "Dobby is free." Lucius turned to Harry, who had lifted his pant leg to reveal his bare ankle. "You made me lose my servant," Lucius roared, pulling out his wand and advancing on Harry. Dobby stepped forward. "You are not allowed to hurt Harry Potter." A blue light shot from Dobby's hand, sending Lucius flying backwards. Lucius stood up, retracted his wand into his scepter, and glared coldly at Harry. "You are a meddling fool, just like your parents. Mark my words, Potter, one day you will be like them." With that, he turned and left. "Dobby is free," Dobby said, looking into Harry's green eyes. "How can Dobby repay you?" Harry grinned. "Just one thing. Stop trying to save me." Dobby smiled sheepishly, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. Harry, noticing the bright but not very pretty smile, suddenly thought of something. "Dobby, you are free, but you are also homeless. Do you know where to go?" Dobby froze for a moment, then looked at Harry seriously. "Can Dobby follow you?" "Me? That won't work," Harry replied quickly. "Listen, Dobby, I feel sorry for you and want to help, but the Dursleys hate magic. They would never welcome a house elf. You'd be abused, and you might even be arrested and taken to Azkaban." "In that case," Dobby said, putting on Harry's sock, his first piece of clothing in years, "Dobby will find a job by himself." Harry hesitated. He knew that with the Malfoy family's influence, Dobby's path to finding a job would be difficult. "Maybe we should go to Aaron and see if he can help." Harry suggested thoughtfully. The Gaius family may not be well known, but their strength is certainly not weaker than the Malfoys. Is this really possible? Dobby asked, surprised. It should be no problem, Harry assured him. Chapter 198, Doppelganger, also has human rights. The moonlight shone through the window onto the hospital bed, casting a soft glow. Aaron sat up with some discomfort. Although the bandage protected and fixed his injured part, it also restricted his movements. Ob, ever thoughtful, placed a pillow behind Aaron's back, then obediently lay on his lap, offering him a few pieces of candy from his pocket. I'll definitely get you a dress with a larger capacity when we go back this time, Aaron said gratefully. But right now, it's important to handle business, and the security work depends on you. Abe immediately straightened his back, his clear eyes fixed on the door. He patted his chest confidently, promising to alert Aaron as soon as someone approached. Aaron couldn't wait to open his task panel, and the joy on his face was hard to suppress. Logically, this kind of secret task should be done in the dormitory, but he couldn't help himself, especially after such an exhilarating battle. Find the legendary secret room. Reward 800 magic points. Kill the monster in the secret room. Reward 1,000 magic points. Destroy Voldemort's Horcrux. Reward 1,200 magic points. 3,000 magic points were credited, and Aaron immediately felt that the hard work of this school year was worth it. He then opened his personal panel. Magic Energy 5,000, Beginner Magister. You are considered a qualified wizard. Talent, rare in 100 years. Can be improved. Magic power increases by 2 points every day. Items. Moondrop, can remove any negative spells. Resurrection Potion, can revive any creature that died within an hour. After reading the evaluation behind his magic energy, Aaron curled his lips. What does it mean to be qualified? Magisters are the backbone of the magic world, and many people remain stuck at this bottleneck for a lifetime. Although he had barely reached the elementary level and was among the weakest of the magisters, he knew that with enough time, his strength would rise. When he saw the number of magic points, Aaron was overwhelmed with emotion. This was all the wealth he had worked hard for. Knowing that this number would soon shrink, it still looked very impressive. Aaron took a deep breath and rubbed his hands excitedly. He resolutely opened the system mall and placed an order without hesitation for the thought body worth 2,000 magic points. In the next moment, Aaron's mind was filled with complex knowledge of magic, and the mind-body clone magic felt as familiar as if he had used it countless times. Let's try it, Aaron muttered, eager to experiment with this magic. He stared straight ahead, clearly feeling the mana in his body draining rapidly. His strength was also declining quickly, but he didn't feel weak at all. This power had left his body, but he could use it and take it back anytime. At the same time, a vague figure gradually solidified in front of the hospital bed. The appearance was exactly the same as Aaron, but the clothes were ordinary wizard robes, not wrapped in bandages like the main body. Abe flew up in surprise, carefully examining the two Aarons, as if trying to find any differences. Don't forget to be vigilant, Aaron said, rolling his eyes. Abe shrugged and continued to stare at the door, but his occasional glances back at the two Aarons made both of them chuckle. It's the first time I see myself this way. It's not unusual. Still quite handsome, if I do so myself. At this age, my appearance can score full marks, Aaron remarked. I have a different opinion, the thought body said with a strange expression. It turns out that I look so disheveled. Also, it's somewhat disrespectful to meet me in this kind of place for the first time. Hearing this, Aaron scratched his head in embarrassment. His current image did indeed form a sharp contrast with the graceful thought body. And next to them were 5 petrified patients, adding to the surreal scene. Objects, humans, animals, and ghosts. Although they have lost all 5 senses and cannot move, they are still alive after all. This kind of meeting place seems weirder than a hospital morgue. That speaks volumes about how much I value you. Pull it down. You know yourself best, and I know what you think, Aaron said, pursing his lips and sitting up as straight as possible. I have figured out the principle of this magic, but it is the first time I use it. You have an independent consciousness, and you have your own memories and emotions. It will also completely obey the orders of the main body. The missing body interjected meaningfully. We have exactly the same personality, so you don't have to worry about anything. Although I have absolute autonomy before returning to the original body, it does not mean that the connection between us is broken. You can know what I am thinking with just one thought. I know. I mean, what help do you need? After all, you have just been born. Apart from my knowledge, memory, and half of your power, you are really poor and useless. Ha. The missing body couldn't help but cover his face and laugh. But when he remembered they were in the school hospital, he quickly restrained his expression. I didn't expect my body to be so humorous. Aaron Gaius can call upon all of Aaron Gaius's resources at my disposal should the need arise, but since you mentioned it, get me 2 wands. The corner of Aaron's mouth twitched. After hesitating for a while, he took out his white wand. That's all. Let's make do with it. You also know my uncle's temper. If I can get him to give me 2 wands, it is already an exception. If I ask for 2 more wands, he will definitely kick me out of the wand shop. Besides, it's not like you can't cast spells without a wand, so don't be so picky. All right, but can you change the wand to the black one? This won't work, Aaron refused without thinking. Many people in Hogwarts know what my wand looks like, and a sudden change of style will affect my image, and I don't need you to show your face. Just grow slowly in the dark. For example, practice magic in the dormitory or study in the library, and strive to become proficient in the description of the ultimate magic circle as soon as possible. As long as it can be instant, and the magic energy is increased by 1 or 2 levels, we may be able to wrestle with the Great Magister. Then Jinns will have no control over me. Sinianti shook his head while supporting his forehead and said with a wry smile, although your order is absolute to me, I still want to say, avatars also have human rights, not your cheating machine. But that's the meaning of this magic. Otherwise, why would I learn it? Aaron asked back. Besides, I won't be lazy just because of your existence. Learning can't stop no matter what. You are just a little harder than me. Is it just a little harder? The missing body looked directly at its own body. Are you going to use me as a donkey for the production team? Ahem, don't be so blunt. I apologize to you, all right? Aaron smiled with embarrassment, feeling quite awkward to be called out by himself. If it were an emotionless avatar, he could use it casually, but the thought body was too advanced. Not only could it exist for a long time, but it also had its own emotions and memories. If he really used the thought body like a cow or a horse, it would be no different from treating himself as a slave. He didn't want to feel resentment towards himself when he took back the thought body. That would be too outrageous. At the moment, I won't take you back unless there is a critical moment, Aaron said earnestly, looking at the missing body. Well, do what you want, but be careful not to appear at the same time and place as me. Don't worry, I know what to do and what not to do. If there is an emergency, I will notify you in time. The missing body smiled and pointed to his head. Use here. That's good. At this time, Ab suddenly sent a warning. Someone is coming. I'll avoid it for now, Aaron said. See you tomorrow, the disembodied voice said, waving to Aaron before casting a disillusionment charm on itself. Not long after the figure disappeared, 2 more figures appeared outside the door. Aaron quickly composed himself, but his expression softened when he saw Dobby standing behind Harry. Isn't it a bit risky for you two to be seen together so openly? Aaron asked. Don't worry, Dobby is no longer Malfoy's servant, Harry explained immediately. I secretly gave Lucius Malfoy my sock, and now Dobby is free. Really? Aaron glanced at Dobby in surprise and noticed a black sock on his left foot. He didn't doubt Harry's story. That's wonderful, but you've really angered the Malfoys. It doesn't matter, Harry said nonchalantly. He and the Malfoy family had always disliked each other, and reconciliation seemed impossible. So, what brings you here? Aaron asked, looking at Harry and Dobby meaningfully. Don't tell me you just came to see me. It's almost curfew. Even though the Chamber of Secrets incident is resolved, most students are probably still celebrating in the common room. And if you're visiting the wounded, you should bring some gifts. I don't expect a basket of fruit or flowers, but at least a bunch of grapes like Colin did. But you two came empty-handed. Are you looking down on me? We definitely don't mean that, Harry said eagerly. It's about Dobby. He's homeless now, and I wanted to ask if your family could take him in. Aaron froze for a moment, then looked at Harry in astonishment. Dobby had indeed been pitiful, but he had also caused Harry a lot of trouble during the summer. Although his intentions were to protect Harry, blocking him on platform 9 3/4 and preventing him from catching the train was a bit much. "Do you know that there's a light about you?" Aaron said. "What do you mean?" Harry asked, puzzled. "It means you're too kind, so kind that it makes me feel a bit ashamed. If I were you, helping him gain his freedom would be enough, but you want to help him arrange his future life as well." Hearing this, Dobby sobbed and tugged at Harry's cuff. "Mr. Gaius is right. Dobby is not worthy of Harry Potter's help anymore." "Don't say that, Dobby," Harry said reassuringly. He then looked at Aaron and asked, "The Gaius family should be able to give Dobby a job, right? The requirements aren't high, just enough for him to support himself, eat well, and stay warm." Chapter 199, Arrangements for Dobby. "I'm sorry, I might disappoint you," Aaron said lightly. "I can't arrange for him." "Why? It's just a house elf. It should be easy for you," Harry insisted. "It is easy," Aaron admitted, then shifted the topic. "But I have no reason to help him. Our family is not a charity. There are many wealthy people in the world, but how many of them have sympathy for beggars on the roadside? They are considered good people if they even throw some money while passing by." Harry was speechless, but seeing Dobby's pitiful look, he still wanted to fight for him. Dobby is very powerful. He can cast spells without a wand or incantations. He even knocked Lucius out of the air. "What?" Aaron sat up straight in shock. The sudden movement caused a little pain in the part bound by the bandage, and his expression turned unnatural. "You hit Lucius Malfoy?" Dobby nodded weakly. "He wanted to hurt Harry Potter, so—" Aaron rolled his eyes and looked at Harry helplessly. "No wonder you're helping him like this." Harry blushed slightly and said, embarrassed, "I just want to help him find a job." "A job that can easily offend people," Aaron sneered. "To put it bluntly, taking Dobby in is like slapping Malfoy in the face. No one in the wizarding world is willing to offend a powerful pureblood family." "Isn't your family okay with it?" Harry asked. Aaron's eyes flickered slightly, and he snorted coldly with disdain. "Malfoy doesn't have the guts to challenge the authority of the Gaius family, nor does he have the strength. But the Hermit family doesn't want to cause trouble, even if the trouble is small or non-existent. I also stayed at Malfoy's house for a day or two, and they took good care of me. Now you want me to take in a house elf who beat Lucius Malfoy? Do you think that's appropriate?" "Maybe. Inappropriate," Harry admitted weakly. "But I can't think of anyone else except your family. We can't let the Weasleys—" "Yes, the Weasleys. I remember Mrs. Weasley always wanted a house elf to help with the housework." "Heh," Aaron chuckled lightly. "If it wasn't inconvenient, I would definitely give you a like. Isn't that okay?" Harry frowned unconsciously. "Nonsense. Of course not. You should be aware of the situation at the Burrow. The Weasleys themselves are struggling. Do you think they have the money to pay Dobby?" "I don't need money," Dobby said timidly, biting his lips. "Dobby's greatest wish is freedom. It is already a great fortune to be able to leave the Malfoy house. I don't dare to ask for too much." Aaron was silent for a moment, then said unhurriedly, "You are considered ambitious among house elves, and if it doesn't bring them financial pressure, the Weasley family might not mind taking you in, but I still suggest that you don't go to their house. The Weasleys and Malfoys have a strained relationship, but both sides can restrain themselves. If you, Malfoy's former servant, go there, it will be like pressing Malfoy's face to the ground and rubbing it hard. You know Mr. Lucius. Do you think he can bear this kind of humiliation? He will use his power to keep putting pressure on the Weasleys until they agree to expel you." "That—" Harry interjected. "Aaron, you may not know that Riddle's diary was placed in Ginny's cauldron by Lucius at the Lion bookstore, and he almost killed Ginny. In other words, the relationship between the two families couldn't be worse. Harry, I know you don't like Malfoy, but I can tell you responsibly that Lucius absolutely didn't know the secret of that diary," Aaron said firmly. "If he wants to target anyone, he will do it within the rules. Even if he doesn't like someone, he will definitely not kill a member of a pure-blood family. Are you so sure? Harry asked. Think about it with your smart brain. Is it really difficult to make Arthur Weasley lose his job in the Ministry of Magic with the power of the Malfoy family in the wizarding world? Aaron replied. Harry froze for a moment, thinking. Lucius's attitude towards Minister of Magic Fudge Seth suggested that he didn't really care about getting Mr. Weasley fired. However, the reality was that Mr. Weasley had always been a thorn in Malfoy's side at the Ministry of Magic. This might have something to do with him being the patriarch of one of the 28 pure-blood Weasley families. If Malfoy truly wanted to, he could make it difficult for Weasley to remain at the Ministry. After pondering this, Harry sighed deeply. There is no other way. It's all right, Harry Potter, Dobby said, shaking his head slowly. Dobby can always find a job, and I think any new job, no matter how hard, is better than being a servant of the Malfoy family. Harry pursed his lips, feeling a bit uncomfortable. He could sense the regret in Dobby's words, but he was also dependent on others and felt powerless to help. Maybe you can go to Dumbledore, Aaron suggested. The most powerful white mage of this century won't worry about Malfoy's revenge, and Hogwarts can provide a house elf with no pressure. The salary might not be high, but food and housing are included. There's no abuse, and you can resign if you don't want to do it. Harry and Dobby exchanged glances, big smiles spreading across their faces. They had forgotten that Hogwarts could perfectly solve Dobby's employment problem, and Dumbledore would certainly not refuse. Thank you, Aaron, Harry said excitedly, leading Dobby towards the door. There was still a little time before curfew, and with any luck, they could settle the matter tonight. Aaron watched Harry and Dobby disappear through the door, his cheeks twitching unconsciously. Who were these people? They came without any sincerity and left in such a hurry. A simple thank you was all they offered. Early the next morning, Madame Pomfrey enthusiastically helped Aaron remove his bandages and brought him a particularly rich and nutritious breakfast. Even Abe had 4 chicken legs. The breakfast at the school hospital is too extravagant, Aaron remarked, looking at his plate in bewilderment. When Harry was in the hospital, it was just pumpkin porridge, but now he had fish, eggs, milk, and beans. Even though he was the only patient who could breathe and speak, the differential treatment made him a little uneasy. Professor Snape specifically reminded us that you need to supplement your nutrition, Madame Pomfrey explained with a smile. And Professor McGonagall announced last night that you are one of the contributors to solving the Chamber of Secrets incident. No matter what, I had to arrange a good meal for you. So that's it. Aaron felt a bit more moved, appreciating the dean's thoughtfulness. Others hadn't even come to see him. Bad review. Just as he was thinking this, Professor Sprout and Professor McGonagall appeared at the door, carrying several glass bottles exuding white steam, with joyful smiles on their faces. Gaius, Professor McGonagall said as she walked to Aaron's hospital bed. She tapped her wand, and a pile of presents appeared at the end of his bed. These were given to you by your friends, and Harry specifically asked me to prepare a fruit basket for you. They blocked the school hospital early in the morning, and many people came from the 4 houses, but Madame Pomfrey did not let them in. Otherwise, it would have affected our efforts to lift the petrification of the 5 victims. Click, click. Aaron blinked, feeling a bit of pain in his cheeks. Just as he was about to say something, a white shadow jumped into the pile of gifts. Excitedly picking from left to right, Abe stuffed all kinds of snacks into his pocket one by one. The pile of presents decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye, leaving only a few bouquets of flowers in the end. Professor McGonagall spread her hands at Aaron. I delivered the gift, and I don't mind if you ask Abe to accept it. Aaron forced a smile, then pulled the proud Abe in front of him. Abe rubbed his forehead, looking aggrieved, and immediately took out a box of biscuits from his pocket. He looked directly at Aaron with a pair of clear eyes, as if to say, if you don't have enough to eat, come to me for more. Aaron sighed. Bear with it. After all, he is the dragon cub who grew up with me. Professor McGonagall laughed heartily. I'm relieved to see that you are in such good condition. I'm sorry, Professor. I let you see a joke, Aaron said helplessly. Are those mandrake potions? Yes, Professor Sprout and Madame Pomfrey prepared them together last night. Professor McGonagall flicked her wand lightly, and the brown-green potion flew out of the bottle, landing on Madame Norris, Colin Creevey, Justin Finch-Fletchley, Penelope Clearwater, and nearly headless Nick. The potion easily blended into their bodies, and the petrification quickly disappeared. Seconds later, Colin Creevey, who was next to Aaron, blinked and let out a horrified scream. Ah, snake! What a big snake! The condition of the others was not much better. Mrs. Norris jumped onto the windowsill, Nick quickly slammed into the wall, and Justin rolled off the hospital bed. Only Ravenclaw's prefect, Penelope Clearwater, remained relatively calm. After shaking for a moment, she reached into her pocket, probably looking for her wand. "Okay, everyone," Professor McGonagall said, pressing her hands down. There was a soothing power in her voice, and the 5 patients who had just recovered gradually calmed down. "The basilisk that hurt you is dead, and the culprit behind the Chamber of Secrets incident has been dealt with. Hogwarts is safe." Hearing this, the victims looked at each other in confusion, feeling a bit overwhelmed. "It's lucky to be able to recover," Aaron said with a smile while enjoying his breakfast. "Especially the 5 victims who have recovered. This is definitely the favor of the goddess of luck." 5 victims? Penelope pondered for a moment, looking around the school hospital. "But there are 6 patients here." "You have to thank the 6th wounded. Mr. Gaius saved you," Professor McGonagall said. Aaron's heart jumped, and he immediately said, "I just helped find the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter, Ron, and Hermione are the main force. They are the real contributors." Professor McGonagall gave him a helpless look, but Aaron stared back unceremoniously. "What about reducing my sense of existence? Don't you know that the voice of the victim is infinitely louder than that of other people?" "I knew Harry Potter was wronged," Colin, a Harry Potter fanatic, said, flushing. "He must have saved us and killed that giant snake." Aaron raised his eyebrows and silently gave Colin 100 likes in his heart. "Well said. It is best to publicize Harry Potter's great achievements in school after he is discharged from the hospital, so that the attention on him will naturally decrease." Chapter 200, Dumbledore's Words. Justin's stomach rumbled at an inopportune moment, causing him to smile awkwardly. His eyes immediately landed on the dinner plate next to Aaron, which held 4 hot chicken drumsticks. Considering one of their 5 victims was an inedible ghost, the amount seemed just right. "Are these for us?" Justin asked, his voice hopeful. Before Aaron could respond, Abe leaped in front of the dinner plate, glaring fiercely at Justin. The look seemed to say, "Dare to snatch food from the dragon's mouth, and you won't live to regret it." "Ah, it seems these aren't for us," Justin said, backing off. "Obviously," Aaron shrugged. "Of course, if you want to compete with my cat for food." Abe opened his mouth, revealing 2 rows of sharp teeth. Justin shuddered at the sight, feeling a pressure from Abe that rivaled that of the giant snake. It had to be an illusion. This cat looked completely harmless, even cute, despite its protective stance over the food. Even Senior Penello's eyes were drawn to it. How could it be associated with a terrible monster? "Breakfast time is past," Professor McGonagall said with a smile. "But there's a banquet tonight. Dumbledore wants everyone to relax and celebrate until tomorrow morning. Before that, you need to be hospitalized for an examination," Madame Pomfrey said seriously. 1 or 2 hours should be enough. We need to ensure the Mandrake potion has completely lifted your negative status." Aaron gave them a sympathetic look and then got out of the hospital bed. "Madame Pomfrey, can I leave?" "Of course, Mr. Gaius, anytime." Aaron gave Abe a look, and the cat nodded excitedly, quickly devouring his breakfast. In less than a minute, the 4 chicken legs were reduced to bones, and Abe patted his stomach in satisfaction. "This," Colin's eyes widened, "it's too edible." "That's not important," Penello said, looking at Aaron with embarrassment. "Can I hug it?" "Let's do it next time, senior sister. It just finished eating, and I need to take it to digest," Aaron said, picking up his heavy pet and walking out of the school hospital. "Professor McGonagall, can you tell us what happened these past few days?" Colin asked curiously. "How did Harry Potter find the Chamber of Secrets, defeat the basilisk, and catch the mastermind behind it?" "Mr. Creevey, you can ask Harry Potter yourself," Professor McGonagall replied, exchanging a glance with Professor Sprout. "The 2 of us will leave now. Everyone will be very happy when you recover." Slytherin Common Room. As soon as Aaron walked in, he was met with admiring gazes from many Slytherins, especially the first-year students. Their admiration was palpable. Aaron was one of the 4 who found the Chamber of Secrets, and his presence seemed to overshadow the 3 Gryffindors. He was their Slytherin hero. "What are you looking at me for? The final exams are coming up soon. Don't you need to review?" Aaron's words carried weight in Slytherin, even more than the prefects. At his command, many students looked away in embarrassment. A little girl mustered her courage and approached Aaron, her face blushing. "Senior, my name is Siren. Can you sign this for me?" Aaron froze for a moment, feeling a bit helpless. He was experiencing the troubles of fame, but he was luckier than Harry. At least his fans were more sensible than Colin, and this girl was quite cute. "I haven't signed anyone's autograph yet, and I don't think my autograph is worth much," Aaron said, noticing the girl's admiring gaze. "But you are the first person to make such a request, so it wouldn't be appropriate to refuse." "Then, Senior, you agreed?" Siren asked excitedly, handing him a pen and paper. "Come prepared, I see," Aaron said with some appreciation. "But not now. Come to me after you pass all your subjects," his face. "At least I have something to keep me busy. In the final exam." Although regretful, Siren still nodded. "Not bad." Naylor walked over with a meaningful smile. "I have learned how to make cakes for school girls. I'm very serious about the first autograph in my life, but I seem to have been relatively peaceful recently. When did I become so popular?" After last night, Dumbledore said that Harry Potter and the others were able to find the Chamber of Secrets thanks to some clues you provided, and you finally found the basilisk in the library. The most important thing is that you played a big role in the battle. The principal didn't go into details, but he emphasized that you were the only one injured among the 4. Hearing this, Aaron stood there in a daze, thunder rolling in his heart. Dumbledore's heart is simply too cunning. He seems to have said nothing, meeting Aaron's low-key request, but he seems to have said everything. People who don't know the truth will have fantasies because he is the only one wounded, and even involuntarily replace him with the role of a hero. Aaron. Naylor waved his hand in front of Aaron. "What's wrong with you?" "It's okay. I'm fine." "Really?" Naylor was a little skeptical. "But why did I hear the sound of teeth grinding?" I have a toothache recently." Aaron stopped biting his back molars, and the grinding sound disappeared instantly. "Okay." Naylor sat on the sofa. "It is reasonable to say that you have just been discharged from the hospital, and I shouldn't bother you, but as a prefect, I think I need to know something about what happened last night." "Is this important?" Aaron asked, speechless. "It's very important." Naylor nodded solemnly. "There are quite a few Slytherins like Siren who are confident in their blood, but are scared by the basilisk. I need to tell them about your battle with the basilisk and the murderer behind the scenes in the Chamber of Secrets. The more detailed, the better. This story will give them a shot in the arm." The corners of Aaron's eyes twitched slightly. "Are you serious?" "Hey, Prefect, I really didn't put in much effort. It's Harry." "Don't be modest, Gaius," Naylor joked playfully. "Percy also asked Harry Potter and the others last night, but they were vague and didn't share any useful information. Then there is only one truth left. You are the main force, right?" Clap, clap, clap. While applauding, Aaron wept silently in his heart. He really wanted to ask Dumbledore, "Is it interesting to play like this?" What the lower grades would think he didn't know, but seniors like Naylor could guess what. There was no proof. "Did I get it right?" "No, you guessed wrong," Aaron said blankly. "I applaud simply because I think, Senior, you have a good imagination and Lockhart's writing talent." Naylor froze and smiled awkwardly. "What happened in the secret room?" "I can't remember." Aaron rubbed his head. "I seem to have been hit by a forgetting spell. My head hurts, and I need to rest." As Aaron spoke, he walked towards the dormitory at a faster and faster speed, never giving Naylor a chance to ask more questions. Gilderoy Lockhart is still useful. Although he didn't teach Aaron even a sliver of useful magic, he is definitely the best teacher when it comes to pretending to be confused. After closing the dormitory door, Aaron let out a long breath. "It can be seen that you are not in a good mood," a voice said lightly. "Don't mention it. Let me tell you a joke. The heart of the greatest white mage of this century is definitely worse than the Dark Lord." I agree with this. I also heard some rumors when I came back last night. That old man is indeed cunning, but I have to admire his wisdom. He fulfilled our request and quietly shared the credit among the 4 people, but he also achieved his own goal. A few smart people will focus on us. It doesn't hurt, though, at least for now. That's all I can think of, Aaron said helplessly. Then he turned his gaze to a stack of sketches full of various magic formations on the desk, with a satisfied smile on his face. At least I have something to keep me busy. The corner of his mouth twitched. Have you been struggling since last night? Almost. It's only about 200 pages. Sigh, Nian said proudly. Aaron thought that the avatar was indeed reliable, starting to work hard on the first day. But when he carefully checked the homework of the thought body, his expression couldn't help but become a little weird. This. It's normal, Miss C answered. Normal? Aaron patted the table angrily. There are very few high-level magic circles in these 200 pages. Most of them are intermediate-level magic circles, and even low-level magic circles account for a large proportion. Brother, we are wizards who can draw the ultimate magic circle. Even 1,000 years ago, we were considered elites, but you actually used these to fool me. Even if you described an ultimate magic circle overnight, it would be more meaningful than these things. I want to, too, but I can't. Can't do it? The thought body nodded slightly. You forgot, my current magic energy is only at the level of a high-level magician, not even a magister. It is not easy to do these things. I can't just draw pictures. Aaron laughed awkwardly. Then there is no need to practice elementary magic circles. Isn't this a waste of time? You know yourself, you have to have some fun when you are tired from work. Aaron's eyes widened. It made sense, but he couldn't find any reason to refute. Okay, you've convinced me. Can you stop talking to me in this tone in the future? Our personalities are exactly the same. In other words, if you were me, you would do the same. And the thought body paused slightly, with a playful tone. Now you can't beat me. This joke is not funny. Aaron rolled his eyes. He had absolute control over the thought body, and those who didn't know might think that the clone was going to devour the master. But then he thought of the magic sealing ring on his left hand and opened his mouth in astonishment. What the? I thought you should have realized it last night. The thought body teased unexpectedly. Ontology, I have to say something to you. You can't relax just because you have my cheating device, or your brain will become dull. This joke is worse than the one just now, Aaron said with some frustration. Because his thought body was separated, his magic energy dropped significantly, and the ring on his hand sealed half of his magic energy, cutting it in half again. Although this aligned with his low-key approach, the gap in strength from a junior magister to a junior high-level magician was too great, and he needed time to adjust. If you think about it, a 13-year-old junior high-level magician is considered a genius, better than most of the students in the school. The thought body comforted. If you can't accept it, you can give me the ring. Let's exchange it. It's only natural that the avatar is weaker than the main body. Don't even think about it. Aaron immediately held the ring tightly, then took a deep breath. It's not bad. At least my mentality can be stabilized. To be honest, after I advanced to Magister and defeated the 16-year-old Voldemort, I was really starting to get a bit arrogant.